for anybody in this world, not only teachers. But for teachers, it is more important because we have to deal with people, we have to deal with students day to day, time to time. You have to handle the class, and specifically after COVID-19, when many of the students and people are suffering from depression and because of the lack of socialization and all, this skill becomes all the way very, very important. All of you know that we have so many emotions going on. Sometimes it is negative emotions, sometimes positive emotions, but understanding these emotions is very, very important. And after understanding yourself, like what are your thought process, what type of feelings that you have from inside, and managing these emotions is very, very important to be successful in life, to be a good teacher, or to be that acceptable teacher by the students. So today in this session we are going to discuss about these topics, like what emotional intelligence is all about, what are the key components of emotional intelligence, what is the role of emotional intelligence, and integrating emotional intelligence into teaching practices. So first of all, if I see like what is emotional intelligence, then that for a teacher, education is not just about imparting knowledge. It's about connecting with hearts and mind. Because if you remember your days when you were a student, and if you can recall teacher, and the best teacher you would like to remember is the one who has connected with you. So it is not just imparting knowledge, it is about connecting with people, connecting with young generation. And as a teacher, we have incredible power to shape lives, inspire minds, and nurture the new generation, those who are the future of this nation. But to truly unlock our students' potential, we must embrace the untapped superpower within us, that is emotional intelligence. Because if you are not understanding your emotions, then you cannot expect, students to come out in front of you and to understand, what the reality is, what the real world is. So for a teacher, these are the three main, attributes that any teacher should have. First is the subject expertise. Obviously, you should be the expert in your subject. Teaching learning methods, yes. Teaching pedagogies is very, very important. You should be knowing about what methods are to be adopted whenever you are dealing with, students. And there are multiple teaching pedagogies are there, okay, which we can adopt while dealing with students. And the third one, which is very, very important, is emotional intelligence. So the combination of these three attributes will make us a good teacher, acceptable teacher. Now think of, as I said, a good teacher who have had in your life, and what words or phrases would capture what was good about them. What words or phrases would you use to describe yourself as a teacher? Okay, like if you want to be a good teacher, so what do you think? What do you expect that you should describe yourself as a good teacher? What attributes you should have? And always try to think of your teacher to always appreciates, and for what you appreciates about a teacher. So it is not just the way they imparted knowledge, but it is like how they have changed your life, how they have touched your heart, and how you remember them always as a teacher. Okay, so if you come to the definition of emotional intelligence and what emotional intelligence is, then
Ma'am,
we
excuse
define.
me, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am, can you please share the full screen, ma'am?
I have shared full screen, ma'am. It is coming full screen in front of me. Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's okay, ma'am.
Now it's
Thank you,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So emotional intelligence, because first of all, it is very, very important to understand what emotional intelligence is, because this is the very, very important, component of a good teacher. along with the subject expertise, along with different teaching pedagogies that we are using. So, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, manage our own emotions while effectively perceiving and empathizing with the emotions of others. So, there are two things which are very, very important here. First of all, like emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand. Recognize means that you have to understand your own self, your oneself, who you are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Recognize means you should know, you should be able to understand, you should be able to recognize like what type of emotions are going on in your mind. There are many emotions, that sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we are very angry, sometimes there is anxiety, sometimes we feel sad. Okay, we don't feel like doing anything. So you have to recognize that what type of emotions are going on, and you have to understand those emotions. And the next thing, which is very important, is manage our own emotions. So we need to know like how we can manage, because understanding these emotions and managing these emotions are very, very important. And as a teacher, it is very important to understand and aware your own emotions, your own strength and weaknesses. And those who have this understanding can always improve themselves, can always day by day they can understand themselves, they can improve themselves because they can manage their emotions. And always every day we need to improve ourselves, we need to change ourselves. Secondly, emotional intelligence encompasses a set of skills that enable us to recognize, interpret, respond to emotions cues, both within ourselves and in our interactions with others. So, in the teaching profession, emotional intelligence is not just a desirable trait, it is an essential foundation for success. Okay, so it is not that if you are good enough, okay, if you don't understand, it is also okay. No, it is very, very essential foundation for success for a teacher. Because our classrooms are not merely, academic arenas, but also emotional landscape where students experience a myriad of feelings, challenges, and triumphs in their life. So, by developing emotional intelligence, teachers can create a safe and supportive environment that promotes learning, growth, and even holistic well being. And nowadays, under the new education policy, or even every education system, we talk about holistic well being, holistic development of students as well as teachers. Now, if we talk about the components of emotional intelligence, then there are mainly five components of emotional intelligence. First is, self-regulation, which is very, very important. Self-regulation means, and first, before that, even self-regulation, we should know the self-awareness. Awareness means it involves, recognizing and understanding our own emotions, our own strength, our own weaknesses, values, and triggers. And this help us gain insights into how our emotion affect our teaching and interactions with students. You know that sometimes what happens is, suppose if there is some problem at home, and if you carry those problems in the class, then you can imagine like your behavior, your attitude, the way you will deal with students there will be totally different. I hope everybody must have experienced this type of situations in their life. And because we are all human beings, okay, we have so many problems, we have so many challenges in our life. But understanding those emotions, understanding those problems is very, very important. Otherwise, you will carry forward that in your present, and you're dealing with students. Then after understanding, after this awareness, self-regulation is again very important, because it is the ability to manage and control our emotions, thoughts, and behavior. Because like same example, if I take, suppose if there is okay, some problem at home, and if you carry those same emotions in the class, then you may not be behaving normal with students. Why? Because you have not understood what emotions are going on. You don't know how to regulate them, and that is why you are transferring those emotions in the class, and that will affect your performance in the class, and that will also affect your relationship with your students. And many times this happens if we are not regulating our emotions. And this empowers teachers. If you have self regulation, then it empowers teachers to respond to challenging situations with composure, patience, and adaptability. And then next component that comes is empathy. This is the ability to understand and share the emotions and perspectives of other people. Because when you are dealing with students, when you're dealing with your peer group, when you're dealing with your colleagues, understanding their emotions, their perspective is also very, very important. And this enables, teachers to connect with their students on a deeper level, demonstrating, genuine care for them, understanding and support, okay, to the students. And this create a nurturing space that celebrates diversity and foster a sense of belongingness in the class. Next important component is the motivation, because a motivated, passionate teachers are more dedicated to their students growth, and you will be motivated, you will feel positive energy, you will be passionate only when you can regulate your emotions. Okay, so they set meaningful goals, maintain a positive mindset that inspire students to develop their own intrinsic motivation. And motivation also cultivate an engaging, dynamic learning environment that foster curiosity, resilience, and lifelong learning in the class. Another very, very important component is the social skills. So encouraging a range of abilities that facilitate effective communication, collaboration, and relationship building. It creates a positive classroom climate, encourage open dialogue between the students and teacher, and also promote respectful interactions among students. This enable educators to collaborate with colleagues, engage with parents, and establish partnership with the broader community, fostering a holistic approach to educators. So these five components of emotional intelligence is very, very important to understand. Then only it has better implication in the class, in the society, in the faculty, among the colleagues, and all. Now, if one by one, again, if I take this, then self awareness, as I said, that understanding your own emotions, understanding your own strength, weaknesses, values. Now, why self awareness is crucial for teacher? First is improved teaching effectiveness, as I already discussed. Second is authenticity and emotional regulation, because self awareness helps teachers recognize and manage their emotions effectively. They can identify triggers that might lead to emotional reactions and take proactive steps to regulate their emotions in the class. And by staying composed, teachers can respond to challenging situations, okay, with calmness and empathy, creating a positive learning environment and modeling emotions regulation for their students. And then stronger teacher, stronger the student teacher relationship. Okay, so this we have already covered. Now, what are the strategies for developing self awareness? First is reflective journaling. So that means encourage teachers to maintain a reflective journal to record their thoughts, feelings, reflections on their teaching experience. And regularly reviewing their journal entries help them, gain insights for their emotions, patterns, and areas of growth. Then self-assessment exercises. Engage in self-assessment activities such as, personality assessment, then emotional intelligence assessment, or teaching style inventories. And these tools provide valuable insights into personal strength, weaknesses, and teaching preferences. Then always seek feedback, because actively, seek feedback from students, colleagues, and mentors. This can be done through anonymous survey, peer observation, or informal conversation. And constructive feedback always help teachers gain a deeper understanding of how their actions and behavior impact others. But you have to be very open for this, okay? Because this constructive feedback will help only when you are open for change. Then mindfulness practices. Encourage teachers to incorporate mindfulness techniques into their daily routine. Mindfulness exercises such as, deep breathing, meditation, or mindful walking can help teachers develop self-awareness by promoting self-reflection and present, moment awareness. Then professional development opportunities. Participate in workshops, seminar, or courses focused on self-awareness and emotional intelligence, because these programs provide teachers with the knowledge, skill, and tools to enhance their self-awareness, emotional intelligence in the class. So by implementing these practical strategies, teacher can develop their self-awareness, gaining a better understanding of their emotions, strength, weakness, etc. Another component, as we have discussed, is this self-regulation. Self-regulation, is a critical component of emotional intelligence, as I said. That means regulating oneself, regulating your emotion, managing your emotions. Now, why self-regulation is significant in teaching context? Because first is creating a calm and supportive classroom. Self-regulation allows teachers to maintain composure and calm even in challenging situations. So by regulating their own emotions and reactions, teachers model self-control and demonstrate to students how to navigate, difficulties calmly. So this creates a safe and supportive classroom environment where students feel secure and are better able to focus on their learning. Next is enhancing decision making and problem solving. Self-regulation always enhance your decision making, power, and also your problem solving capacities, because they can approach with clarity and objectivity to their problems. Another is modeling emotions regulation. Now, teacher who practice self-regulation act as a role model for their students. When teachers demonstrate, effective emotional regulation, students learn valuable skills in managing their own emotions and behaviors. So this modeling also helps students develop their own self-regulation abilities, which is very, very important to be successful in life. Now, what are the techniques for enhancing self-regulation? How we can have self-regulation? First is deep breathing exercises. Sorry. Next is mindfulness practices, stress reduction strategies, emotional, I'm very sorry, emotional release and self-care. Because this encourages teachers to engage in activities that allow for, emotional release, such as journaling, talking to supportive colleagues, or seeking, professional counseling when needed. Because prioritizing self-care and emotional well-being enables teachers to manage their emotions more effectively, leading to improved self-regulation. Then another technique can be like reflective practices. Now engage in reflective practices such as self-assessment to identify your triggers and patterns related to emotionalism. Means you should understand, like in which situation your emotions are coming out. You are becoming, suppose, sad, or you are becoming happy, or suppose you are becoming, or more anxiety level is increasing. So you should understand what are those situations in which these problems are arising, and then what can be the solutions for this. Now next component is motivation. So this I have already covered while explaining this. Now, what are the strategies for fostering motivation? There are many strategies like recognize and celebrate your achievements, faster collaboration and support, provide autonomy and professional development, because professional development, when teachers grow and or students grow, then always they feel motivated, they will feel doing something new. Or you should also recognize and celebrate your small achievements. Then you should always be grateful for those who have helped you in your bad times. So this are the small strategies for fostering motivation. Now next is empathy. Empathy, as I said, always play a very crucial role in teaching and building strong relationship with students. Now, why empathy is essential in the teaching context? Because first, building strong relationships. Second is enhancing emotional support, because empathetic teachers are better equipped to provide emotional support to their students. They can recognize and respond sensitivity to students' emotional needs, offering comfort, encouragement, and understanding. You know that whenever, suppose if student is not feeling well, and if you empathize with them, they always will come to you. They will share, their problems with you, and then they will get place to vent out, and then it will be easy for them, to regulate their emotions, to control their emotions. So empathy helps teachers create a nurturing environment where students feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and emotions. Another essential to teachers about empathy is like fostering inclusion and acceptance. Like empathy promotes inclusivity and acceptance in the classroom. By understanding and appreciating students' diverse backgrounds, experience, and perspectives, teachers create an inclusive learning environment that values individual differences. And this fosters a sense of belonging and encourages respectful interactions among students. Now, what are the different tips for developing empathy as a teacher? First is active listening. Okay, very important. Engage in active listening when interacting with student. Sometimes what happens, we as a teacher, we always just speak, one-sided, and we never allow others to share their expressions. So as a good teacher, to develop empathy, we should also be a good listener. Pay attention to their verbal and non-verbal cues. Maintain eye contact with students and show genuine interest in their thoughts and feelings. Active listening, always demonstrates that you value their perspective and are present in the moment. Next is non-judgmental attitude. Now, adopt a non-judgmental attitude when interacting with students, because sometimes what happens is we just become very judgmental and we create impression about any student, just seeing their behavior, just seeing their emotions. Okay, so that is not good. That is not, empathizing nature of a teacher. So always we have to adopt a non-judgmental attitude when interacting with students. Then suspend assumption or biases and strive to understand their experiences without, preconceived notion. This creates a safe space for students to share their thoughts and concerns very openly. Next is practice perspective talking. Now, encourage teachers to put themselves in their students' shoes and try to understand their experience from their point of view. Like whatever you do, always see that if you are there on their place, how you will feel if one person will behave like this with you. This perspective taking, helps develop a deeper understanding of students' emotions, motivations, and challenges, enhancing empathy in the process. Then also emotional awareness and regulation, encourage empathy building activities, professional development. So this all will help, create empathizing nature among the teachers. Next, very important component is the social skill. Now, strong social skills are essential for teachers in creating a positive classroom environment and fostering effective learning experiences. These skills enable teachers to establish meaningful connections with their students, promote healthy interactions among their students. Why social skills are significant in teaching context? First, it establishing positive relationship in the class, in the staff room, among all others, colleagues. Second is it facilitates effective communication because social skills play a very vital role in facilitating effective communication between teachers and students. Now, teachers with strong social skills employ active listening techniques to genuinely understand their students' perspective, thoughts, and concern. And they communicate clearly and concisely using appropriate language and non-verbal cues to ensure that instructions and feedback are always understood. And it always help in conflict resolution and also problem solving. Now, what are the techniques, effective communication techniques? First is active listening. This is very important. We have already covered. Then clear instructions, non-verbal cues, because pay attention to non-verbal cues such as body language, facial expression, and tone of voice. Maintain an open and approachable posture. Maintain eye contact. Use gestures and expression to convey warmth, encouragement, and interest. Then teach conflict resolution skills to students. Then collaborative problem solving. Okay, like encourage collaborative problem solving among students by assessing group projects, discussion, or problem solving activities. Team building activities is again very very important for improving communication skill. Now, based on what we have discussed so far, why do you think emotional intelligence is important for teachers? Why is this essential in the classroom? Does it affect the learning outcome in the class? Why is emotional intelligence necessary for student-centered, learning approach? So this all we have discussed. Now, what is the role of emotional intelligence for teacher? We have covered directly, indirectly, but quickly we will just have a look. What is the role of overall, seeing all the components of emotional intelligence? First is improved classroom management. Okay, because role of emotional intelligence, if teachers have emotional intelligence, EI, then always that improved classroom management, because emotional intelligence equips teachers with the ability to effectively manage and navigate their emotions even in challenging situations. So this leads to better classroom management, reduced disruptive behavior, and more conducive learning environment. Then enhanced student teacher relationship, that also we have already covered. Better communication will be there, because emotional intelligence enables teachers to communicate effectively with student colleagues, parents, and higher student engagement and academic success. When teachers cultivate emotional intelligence, they are better equipped to create engaging and relevant learning experience that cater to students emotional needs, because emotional intelligence foster a supportive and inclusive learning environment where students feel valued, understood, and motivated to participate actively in their education. And research shows that emotionally intelligent teachers have a positive impact on student engagement, academic achievement, and overall educational outcomes. Now, integrating emotional intelligence into teaching practices. To incorporate emotional intelligence into their daily routines and classroom interaction, teachers can adopt various practices, strategies. Like here are some examples which I'm giving. First is create an emotionally supportive environment for students. Now begin each day with a check-in, allowing students to express their emotions and thoughts. Okay, very, very important. So you all are teachers. And I hope you will be agreeing with me about these points, that every day just allow students to express their emotions and thoughts. Establish clear classroom norms that promote respect, empathy, and open communication. Use positive language and provide constructive feedback to students, focusing on their efforts and growth. Then teach emotional regulation techniques. Now introduce mindfulness exercise, deep breathing, or short brain breaks to help student manage, their stress and regulate their emotion. Teach your students self-calming strategies such as, counting to 10 or taking a break when they feel overwhelmed or frustrated. Encourage students to express their emotions through art, journaling, or discussion, or promoting self-awareness and emotional expression. Then foster empathy and perspective taking. Engage your students in activities that develop empathy, such as role playing, literature discussion, or community services project, etc. Then model emotional intelligence. Be aware of your own emotions and model appropriate ways to express and manage them in the class. Then collaborative learning and team building, because that will always help, the students for learning effective communication, learning empathy, okay, being social, because this is very, very important. Because this facilitate, structured class discussion where students listen actively, they respectfully disagree and validates others. And this promotes opportunities for peer support and mentoring to develop empathy, social skill, and sense of belonging. Then cultivate emotional vocabulary. Now teach students a rich emotional vocabulary to help them identify and express their emotions accurately. Incorporate vocabulary building activities, emotion charts on daily check-ins to expand students' emotional literacy. Okay, then reflective practices. Encourage students to reflect on their own emotions, behavior, and interactions through journaling or self-assessment or class discussion. Now, other reasons why emotional intelligence is important. Now, apart from the classroom, EI is also a significant aspect in the workplace, among your colleagues, among seniors, subordinates, and all, because it helps in handling pressures in a healthy way, understanding and cooperating with others. It helps to become an open to feedback, more empathic, and helps make more thorough and thoughtful decisions. Now, I'm just giving you different scenarios, okay, to understand EI. Like suppose, for example, in a professor's classroom, there is a conflict between two students, A and B. They are part of group project, but have been experiencing challenges and collaborating effectively. Their differences in work style, communication preferences, and conflicting ideas have led to tension and disagreement within the group. The professor recognizes the need to address the conflict and facilitate a resolution for the benefit of both students and overall projects. Now, in this, the questions that we should discuss in this scenario: how can emotional intelligence of a teacher come into consideration in this conflict resolution? Okay, I'll just do one thing. I will just, stop this, my PPT sharing, and we will discuss this, open house discussion we can have. So first, I'm giving you this scenario that professor is there in the class and there is conflict between two students A and B, and they are a part of group project. Okay, now can anybody answer this? How can emotional intelligence of a teacher come into consideration in the conflict resolution scenario? Or second question is, how can the professor, approach A and B to understand the underlying cause and dynamics of their conflict? Or what strategies can be used to create supportive and open environment where they feel comfortable sharing their concerns? Or how can the professor encourage A and B to encourage in open and constructive communication? Or what techniques can be employed to ensure effective listening? Okay, so these are the different question. Another scenario, I will discuss this. Okay, we'll have open discussion after first I complete this. Another scenario is like in a college faculty department, there is a group of colleagues who work closely together to achieve departmental goals and provide quality education to students. The team faces challenges related to differences in communication style, conflicting opinion, and occasional misunderstanding. Recognize the importance of emotional intelligence in fostering a harmonious and collaborative work environment. The colleagues aim to enhance their emotional intelligence skill to improve their interactions and overall productivity. Okay, again, these questions. So, uh, 1 minute. Introspect yourself. Okay, I'll just close this. I just want to have open discussion. Okay. Can anybody would like to give their views on this? Like first scenario, if we are talking in this case study, like there are two students A and B. Okay, they have to work in the group. Suppose you are give them group assignment, and there is a conflict between them. They are not ready to work with each other, or suppose there is a fight between these two students, then how the emotional intelligence of a teacher can help in resolving these issues? Can anybody contribute? Can anybody answer this? We are all teachers, and we every day we face this type of problems in the class among the students. Or another case study which I have given, that there are faculty team, okay, those who are working for the betterment of the college or for the growth of the college, but among them also there is a conflict between them. So how emotional intelligence can help in resolving those issues? Yeah, please, I would like to discuss this with you. Whoever would like to answer this. I will share again the screen. Yeah, please contribute so that it will be better and you will be able to understand this. This one, first one. If there is a professor in the classroom and there is a conflict between two students. You all are teachers. Well, anybody would like to answer this? How can the professor encourage A and B to engage in open and constructive communication? How will you, if you are in this place, how will you do that? Yeah, anybody would like to answer? Anybody would like to contribute? No? Okay, so if not, then let us continue. So every day, teachers should introspect themselves, and they should introspect that am I able to identify how I am feeling? Because every day in the beginning of the day or the end of the day, we should introspect ourselves, because that will help in understanding our own self. Because without understanding, I don't think that you will be able to manage your feelings, you will be able to manage your emotions. So first question we should introspect is, am I able to identify how I am feeling? Then am I able to identify how the children are feeling, like to whom you are teaching? Would most people I know consider me to be perspective about my emotional state and theirs? Or am I able to notice when the children are angry, sad, bored, or so on? Am I able to identify emotional swings in myself and in others? Am I able to delay important decisions if I am in a negative state? Am I able to find the right words to express my feelings? Am I able to help the children use words appropriately to express both positive and negative feelings? So these are, very, very important questions that all of us should answer. So in all, what I can say is that emotional intelligence is very, very important. Okay. It's very important for anybody, not only teachers, but anybody in this world. Because, when language was not there in Adivasi's time, in a long back, if you see, when language was not developed, people were having very strong emotional intelligence. Because that you remember, like if you see the movies and all, you will see that people just were able to understand what other wants to say only through their body language, through their expressions, facial expressions and all. But then that was converted into the language. And now in the era of AI, now what is the difference between AI and human beings? The only difference is of emotions. Okay, they are machines are doing everything what we are doing, but they are emotionless. And we people, as a human being, we have emotions. So that is the only difference between the AI, between the machines and the human being. So emotions are very, very important. We are not there to become emotionless, but to be successful in life, we should be able to understand our emotions. Because if you are distracted, you cannot make good relationship. And we have to leave past behind. Sometimes what happens is we understand our emotions, but we just go with those emotions. And what will happen? That will affect our present. Our decision making ability will also go down. We will not be able to take proper decision, and that will also affect our future. So for all these, to stop all these consequences of these emotions, this emotional intelligence play a very, very important role, because that will help in regulating these emotions. And once you understand how to regulate these emotions and how these emotions will not affect your day to day life, then that will be the day when you will not have to look back. And that will help you in making good relationship, that will help you in your career growth, and that will help you in making you a good teacher, where you will be able to understand yourself and you will be able to understand to whom you are dealing with. Okay, so that's all from my side. Now I would be happy to discuss this more if you have any questions.